We're opening a side of SEO today you rarely hear about, with the moves behind the big rankings in big casinos and the things that they are doing outside their own websites. This is not a conversation about link building, but instead about PBNs, one of those infamous non-white hat tactics within SEO. But after all, does it help with AI? Should brands even waste their time and effort looking for alternatives like it? Our guest today is Daniel Lux, SEO and PBN expert, and also somebody who very much knows how to aggressively outrank the competition. As usual, I'm your host, Victor Hulukupe from Kensho Media, and this is... Daniel, why don't you talk to us a little bit about PBNs, about SERPs in 2025? You see, right now, whenever we're talking, especially in iGaming, to people that want to rank, that want to make sure that they are appearing on Google, that they are reaching the users, the visitors, the clickers, sometimes they ask about PBNs. They ask us, they come and they say, hey, do you work with PBNs? Is this something valid nowadays? Should I avoid? Should I keep on PBNs? So the first question here on the show is, what are we actually seeing with PBNs 2025, circa 2025, 26, sorry? How do they show up, and why do some teams still use them?
Yeah, interesting question. So, first of all, I think a PBN shouldn't show up at all because you don't want them to be known by your competitors. And also, most PBN sites never rank because they're trash. And PBN building became ineffective for most. But the thing is with PBN building that Google is making it harder to build them in a way where they actually are effective. So that way, many teams cut them out of the strategy, but there's still, of course, many players using them, but they have to be built right. And it's not enough to just build them like with AI and then letting them sit. And that's it. Like AI made PBNs much more viable by making the content creation automated. Since you don't have such high standards with PBN sites, AI content is totally fine, but a PBN doesn't, let's say, live or die with the content. There are many more factors, like off-page factors, especially traffic, that is relevant because a PBN backlink is like any other backlink. And we know that backlinks get filtered by PageRank, the version we have today, that PageRank is including NAF Boost traffic data to filter out links without traffic, no matter the authorities. So you can build the nicest PBN with a great domain, but there's zero traffic on it, then you won't have any impact with it. So I think PBN usage, like actively build PBNs right now, is going down, but we are on an all-time high of PBNs that exist because of all the years of PBN building. And a certain core of specialists still use them and build them like always. But I think many, especially unexperienced SEOs, they gave up on it and they just do link building nowadays. But link building has become so expensive that this is also not so viable anymore. So we are right now in a situation where for many SEOs, the air is getting thinner, but the best ones will always thrive. So that's what I can tell you about like the state of PBNs right now and like how the usage is. And also in general, like when we look at link authority, it's not the only factor anymore that really makes an impact. And since that's the case, the budgets of companies in highly competitive fields like iGaming get split over different methods, not just link authority, where you would, for example, build PBNs for, but also, for example, CTR manipulation or viral boosting or other techniques. And that's why also PBN building itself is not in the limelight, but it's still important because every site needs some authority to work, and you cannot do CTR manipulation or viral boosting on a site without history and link authority. So it's still an important core pillar, I would say, of black hat SEO and gray hat SEO. I just call it black hat SEO, but it's not like something which is very hot right now.
Look, since you were just talking about the grays and the black hats of them all, is there another one which we should talk about? Maybe two signals that are always worth investing in outside having access to a PBN. You said so yourself, link building is getting not only more expensive, but also more complex because what I can see is that we have a huge amount of low quality ones and it's getting harder and harder to get the good ones. That's where digital PR is coming, by the way, right? That's why we're having this whole digital PR scenario right now. Outside of what we call white, what else do you think could be used nowadays to help such companies push themselves further, maybe get faster into the rankings, maybe just do that last mile that normal link building or digital PR can do?
First, to add to your statement, I agree that the quality of links is getting lower, and also that we see more and more basically PBNs, like low quality type of PBN sites being registered on link buying platforms. So many SEO agencies that have certain budget for their client, they start to buy PBN backlinks without even let's say noticing, knowing, yeah, and they just think, oh, it's a cheap link, but it's yeah, it's just like scaling in SEO in the last few years has been done with the cost of the customer, basically. So the many SEO agencies also in Germany, where I'm based in, deliver a very, very poor quality of guest post. And I had several cases where I took over clients where I found that they were basically scammed with cheap
Oh
PBN
no.
type of links labeled as guest post with like 150% markup on the original link price. It's like completely crap. And now what you can do besides link building in general, yeah, of course, user signals are very important, but user signals are also a very broad category. And let's say we are also developing a very sophisticated CTR manipulation software, but I wouldn't recommend it necessarily to apply it to most cases because CTR manipulation is something which has been abused a lot and is also very known. And because of that, many people are trying to build a solution or use a commercial one and to execute campaigns. But it's very opaque in a sense where you know it's successful or not. Google made it extremely difficult for very important niches to manipulate the click-through rate because they have a lot of information on their servers. For example, you have to emulate visitors and browsers to perform this manipulation. And Google knows how many clicks have been signed in with a Google account on your site. Google has like hundreds of flags via their client-side JavaScript in the Google search where they find out if you are using an emulated device, for example. And also they match like browser profiles with autonomous system numbers, so ASNs, so internet providers. And if you slip up, then you might get a flag. And this is not necessarily the case for every niche, every keyword, because it costs compute. So you might have success with CTR manipulation on less important keywords, but on the big ones, I would be very careful with it because not getting a capture is one thing, but you don't know if they flag your click on the server side. And we also try to gain that, but it's something I would call out here because I think this is the most difficult thing to build because Google is so aware of it that they try to make it harder for everyone so only a few can game it, and that's fine for Google because they just need to prevent that the whole world is manipulating their algorithm. And to the more unknown, or let's say more niche, to manipulate user signals and to, of course, increase rankings drastically. A new thing is viral boosting. It's very popular in the iGaming world. And yeah, that technique is concentrated on just few players. And let's say 10 times the amount of in-house teams. I think right now I am aware of 5 companies worldwide that offer viral boosting, including ours, and it's not so much. So viral boosting is very effective because
Tell me
you
more about
can
it.
you can signal to the Google algorithm, hey, that site, that URL is discussed a lot on social media and people are very interested in it, and you should show it in the top because right now this is the most hot topic, and that's why temporarily that site is worthy of getting listed at the top. And you can repeat that effect again and again and again to keep a site at the top. Let's say rank 15, rank 3, and keep it there without building link authority, just by keeping the site signaling to the Google algorithm, hey, I'm discussed a lot, I'm very hot. This is viral boosting, and viral boosting has a better return on invest than CTR manipulation because it's so effective, and you can also deploy it or apply it on a site with a URL that is on page 2, page 3, for example. With CTR manipulation, in most cases, like 99% of the cases, it only makes sense to apply it if your site is in the top 10.
That's great to know.
And also with CTR manipulation, you need to keep up a certain level of infrastructure on a scale. You don't need to do it with viral boosting. So it's also more economical on the provider side. That's why I think, especially in iGaming, where the competition is very fierce, viral boosting is preferred nowadays. CTR manipulation is still executed and can also be combined with viral boosting. So this is something also to note. You can combine those things. NAF Boost, the module of the Google algorithm, which is responsible for all the traffic data user signals, that module is differentiating, of course, between the CTR clicks in the Google search and the social referral traffic to your site. So those two things are, in my opinion, what NAF Boost is responsible for the most. And yeah, CTR manipulation is something very tricky because there are so many guards against it. That's why I would be careful with it. So for most cases in the very highly competitive space, I would not do it because not worth it in my opinion. For everything that's like less important, maybe medium, you can do it because Google is not checking so thoroughly.
Everything that you're just saying right now, not only is it very important, but I'm learning a lot here with you. And I do hope that the audience is also feeling the same. One question that I had in my mind, I think you touched based about it maybe some minutes ago, is about sometimes you get backlinks that are PBNs and you didn't know, right? So you're getting yourself a lot of backlinks that are very low quality sometimes, not even talking about PBNs exactly, but you're still getting some risky ones, riskier still. Maybe you started buying links and you didn't know what you were doing. There are so many scenarios that we can discuss. But let's talk about a specific one. If a site inherits risky links by all the practice we were just talking about, how can we stabilize it and clean it up without crashing the pages that the users are valuing, that the users are accessing? Because my main concern here is, let's pretend we are a casino page and we just noticed, as you said so yourself, when you got onboarded with a new customer, you saw so many bad backlinks. What then? What did you do? What should we do in those scenarios?
So first step is to assess the risk. First, you need to be aware of what you are dealing with. So I don't consider spam links in the typical sense, like blog comments, forum posts, all that stuff, or directory links, as risky. They're just ignored because it's trash. Google knows about it, no risk. Then there are two more categories. One category is links that are from sites that look like PBNs and have been built because the SEO that has been done was not well executed. And the other category is a negative SEO attack. Nowadays, that works by building a lot of guest posts in a short amount of time with exact match anchor text
Okay.
over
Best casino
optimization.
online, for example, using the same
Yes.
anchoring.
For example, building 1,000, 2,000 guest posts in one
That's a
day
big number of guest posts.
that all link to a site,
Uh,
the exact match keyword like best online casino. A few weeks later, that URL is out of index and will stay there, will stay out of it as long as you don't disavow all of
okay.
those links. And disavowing also takes some time to take, so very difficult to defend against that. You just have to systematically disavow them. And those guest posts, of course, it's not economical for the attacker to buy them on the platform. They buy them from providers that hack other sites and inject the guest posts
I see.
into the mostly WordPress CMS sites. And the guest post itself is hidden from the main page, but it's linked because it needs to for Google to recognize it. But it's not like 7 years ago where most hacked links were just CSS hidden, display none, or 0 pixel white table homepage footer links like save.ru links, like hacked ones that were just hidden via CSS on the homepage. Nowadays, since Google is detecting that and also valuing relevance a lot, it's more viable for those providers and attackers to use injected guest posts, full guest posts about the topic with an exact match anchor, and to hide the whole post or even the whole blog. And of course, those guest posts are also used a lot in niche with churn and burn. It's like in Turkey for the niche there. So for the illegal online casino stuff, because domains get banned after some time, they try to build as much power in a short amount of time. They build up a lot of link power via, of course, also domain redirects of banned domains and those getting pushed, etc. There's a lot of stuff going on in those niches, but they're also used for positive. But for negative, for the original topic you ask about, what links are risky and what not. When you get attacked, this is what you have to look for those bulk guest post links. And for the bad quality SEO that has been done before, for example, hundreds of PBN type of links that are very obvious, I would disavow only the dirt, like what really has no good stats and a very obvious layout. I would disavow them. And with the rest, I might keep them and just build new ones, new good links.
Okay.
But they're just wasted budget, but not necessarily like a complete waste where you have high risk of them being there. So you would actually reduce your SEO authority by disavowing them. So I'm more on the conservative side when disavowing. Yeah, that's what I would do.
And what if a customer were to inquire you today about ranking on AI? You know so much about how to, I'm going to say, ignore Google's guidelines, but how about ranking on LLMs? I personally know how it all works out, but I wanted to listen from your mouth, especially so that the audience can also take your POV about the subject. What do you think about it? And how are you helping your customers even appearing over there?
Yeah, so I'm being completely honest with you. Right now, this is not a hot topic with our clients. It's a hot topic that's being discussed in the public, and there's a lot of buzz about it.
True.
And it's also big in software as a service where you have, or in very specialized consulting, where you have a certain problem and you need a solution. And therefore you use ChatGPT, for example. And there it's a focus nowadays. But with iGaming companies and also with the e-commerce companies I'm working with, the traffic volume is not high compared to the Google traffic volume. So we are not concentrating on this, but we are preparing for times that might shift the focus more to the LLM applications like ChatGPT, and two angles to take at optimizing or manipulating those applications. One One angle is the LLM layer, like the foundation of the application, which gets rebuilt in a matter of like 12 months. And then you have the ad hoc search layer, which is on top to get the freshest information from search engines. By manipulating search engines, you also manipulate the search layer. If the URL of your site appears in the top 10, the likelihood of your brand being included in the answer of that LLM application is way higher. And of course, you need to look at the search engines itself, because ChatGPT, being funded by Microsoft, is using a lot of Bing.
Bing.
But they also use some Google data for certain queries. So when that is a focus, you also need to shift the SEO focus more from Google to Bing.
To Bing.
Yeah, to increase the optimization of the SEO efforts towards Bing. But Bing is not super different from Google. It's different, especially user signals are not
A direct match
computed
to Google's.
Yeah, it's not the same, but it's similar. And the LLM layer, that one is very on-page and backlink dependent. So for your site to be included, like the content you offer, your brand being included as an important entity in that LLM, where you have relationships between different brands, entities, and words, topics, whatever, you need first to make your site properly machinable, readable, by using certain schema markups, and also constructing the content in a way where it's not ambiguous, and the LLM generation code is basically able to understand what your site is about and to classify it. But you also need sites and pages that look at the same or a similar topic to link and or mention you. And mentions become much more important with LLM applications, because they, like LLMs, rely more on mentions than search engines do. So allowing your brand being mentioned by other pages and sites is very helpful. So you need to attack both categories to optimize for LLM applications like ChatGPT. But there are also manipulation methods that go straight into the application, because ChatGPT is using user feedback and user prompts to improve their user experience just in time. And there are methods to feed ChatGPT with manipulated feedback to get a short-term positive result similar to viral boosting. And that is also something we're looking into. And there are also nowadays search engines like Google, including AI mode. And that one's also different. That one, for now, is easy to manipulate.
Okay.
Because they use a different type of data to construct it, and most of the time it's enough to build a dozen of guest posts about the same topic, like a review style of post, where they also look at different solutions and they link out to your site. And then the likelihood of your brand being included in the LLM or in the AI mode, AI overview, I think it's called, is way higher. And yeah, AI mode is different from AI overview. So AI overview is shown at the top of a search and result page. And that one is what I just meant with, like what I targeted with my answer. And AI mode is a chat-like application, which you can switch to. And with that one, you need to take the same angle as with ChatGPT, but also by doing SEO and the LLM level of optimizations.